I've built a 13-year tolerance, Travis, to be completely honest.
Kind of sounds like there's a whispering up the ante. Anti-Becky.
Anti-vaccine.
Welcome to Content Pinning with Travis and Dylan. I'm Travis.
I'm Dylan.
Our podcast takes place at Don's Depot in Austin, Texas. We like to have some drinks and talk to interesting people that come through Austin, live in Austin, or would just love to share a beer and a story. We have one of our favorite people in the entire world. He's a podcaster of his own.
Now I am.
Now you are. You got a podcast.
I do.
Yeah, and you're also I'm gonna keep calling you a comedian.
I am a comedian.
Yeah, you are a comedian.
No,
I don't know if you're doing it in Portland or not.
It's been put on the back burner. But
sure, but it's still there.
It's still there.
Well, it's Greg Lockwood.
Hey,
still a comedian.
Break. You might remember this voice from such words as
break. How's it going, Greg, man?
It's going good, man.
Yeah.
I'm on day 8 of my vacation here in Austin from Portland, and I'll be leaving tomorrow. So it's been a good vacation. I've done South by. I've done all the things.
Yeah.
And I'm very, very tired.
If you're doing South by right, you should be really tired.
Yeah.
Ish.
Very tired.
Very tired.
Just very tired.
Sure.
Let's leave the qualifiers out of here.
Sure. Well, let's start with anyone who recognizes your voice, has been on the show before, anyone who knows you knows that, the relationship with what was Drunkcast before, and now it's turned to Content Pending. I've known you for a really long time, but I don't know if people know, or how many people knew that you left Austin, you went to Portland.
Yes.
And I don't even really know the full story of why you went to Portland, but I do get the idea that Austin doesn't suck as much as Portland does. I'm not saying that Portland's even...
Are we going to get into this already?
Well, no. I was just... so I'm curious, like, why do you want to come back?
Oh.
Yeah.
I haven't announced that I'm going to come back yet.
Okay. Well, you want to come back, that's what I said.
Yeah, no, I haven't. Because...
So there are people in Portland who don't know this part?
Yeah, no,
okay.
A lot of people don't know this.
How did you get there? What was that process? What made you go to Portland? Let's start with that.
Oh, yeah, good call.
Sure.
I'm 31 right now, and I was born in Dallas. I've lived between the triangle of Dallas, College Station, and Austin my entire life.
That's true.
The devil's three-way.
So I was 30 in 2017, and I just...
Time for a change,
Yeah, like I've been raised here. I've lived in Austin almost my entire post-college collegiate career.
Best that I know, I mean.
And it was like that whole, like, what else is out there? Is there more to life than Texas?
Yeah. That's a good time to do it when you're, late 20s, early 30s too.
Yeah.
Well, I love that you went from Austin to Portland, which is ostensibly it's closest thing you can get to Austin.
Portland,
it's not Austin.
Austin Northwest.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm going to make a big change. I'm going to go to another place that thinks it's weird.
Yeah.
That actually has transit.
That's actually going to rip off the weird catchphrase.
Right. But which one came? I thought Portland had it first. I thought Portland was.
I think Austin had it first.
Yeah, see,
I've heard people in Portland tell me that Austin had it first, so that's validating enough to me.
Yes, I think officials. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Official debunking it, because if they're claiming it first, they didn't get it first.
Right.
Yeah.
Part of it was that there's this thing called HuskyCon, which is run by our friends Tony, Maya, and Daniel.
Yep.
From Destructoid previous. And I went there in 2017 and just had a great vacation and saw all of our friends and had a great time. And then I guess maybe I thought that amazing vacation would translate into like wanting to be there, yeah. Like I thought maybe that would be like every day, right? Just every day.
Oh, sure.
Like
that's
hanging out with our friends.
That's why everyone moves to Hawaii or owns property in Cleveland,
Right.
People keep coming here after South by.
Right.
People have no excuse for owning property in Ohio. That's the difference.
I mean, you get to eat lunch with Little Richard one time, and you think you can. The whole city's like that forever, and
you feel good
Yeah.
You know that you would.
Yeah. Well, it was a really good lunch, so.
Yeah.
You know. Timeshare in Cleveland.com.
Hashtag www.
Yeah.
timeshareinCleveland.com.org. Yeah, so
what do you love about Portland?
I like a lot of things about my particular life.
Yes. Okay.
A lot of things are just things that I white privileged into or stumbled into. A very cheap rent in the house within walking distance of downtown.
Oh, that's badass. I didn't know it was that close. That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a third of what anyone pays in Austin.
Wow, that's nice. Because Portland rent is
So like
super expensive.
$3,000.
Yeah, I guess
$3,000.
Portland is about. I'd say it's what Austin rent is, right? Like the normal, convenient one person apartment in Portland is about $1,000 a month.
Okay.
Just like it is in Austin, and I pay about a third of that. And I have a job there that's within a 20-minute walking distance of my house.
Cool.
Weed is the literal cheapest thing that's ever been invented there. They don't know what to do with it. They're just dumping it out in the street.
Good.
Like the goddamn Boston weed party or something.
But they were high, so they know they're supposed to push it in the bay. They were just like,
they're like, what were we supposed to do with this?
it's supposed to go somewhere on the ground?
The actual first instructions was to sell it, and they're like, yeah, we don't know. Let's just get rid of it.
The sweepers will get it.
But yeah, no. What I think is the interesting story is are we getting into the podcast stuff later?
Sure, yeah.
It's your story, man.
Yeah, it's your story. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, I want to talk about the drunk cast. Not to get in a hurry to plug my own stuff, but like because you bring it up, like so about a decade to it's like 12 years ago now. I started Drunkcast OG for the Destructoid website community, and that was more. I didn't care so much about the podcast as I cared about just a form of interacting with the community.
Yeah.
And that was a good vessel to do it, you know, like we could get on Skype and we were drunk already anyways.
Right.
And we just wanted to talk to our friends like we were going to do anyways. And then once I graduated from college, we kind of wrapped that up.
Right.
But like about 6 months ago before I started, so my podcast is called Greg Lockwood Interviews His Friends. About 6 months before I started that, I started listening to podcasts in earnest because I just had so much time at work.
Yep.
And my favorite are like the kind of one-on-one interview podcasts. Dak Shepard's podcast, Anna Ferris's podcast, John Gabrus's podcast. There's a lot of those out there. They're like that. But they all have like the same. So like say if Kristen Bell is going to go on an interview, she's going to go on all the podcast circuits and just kind of do a circle, right?
Right.
And like there's going to be different stories from different podcasts, but largely it's still the same experiences. Like you have one person appearing on all these podcasts.
Yeah. What movie they're coming up, a TV show, or the exact same experiences.
They have something to plug.
Yeah.
And then also the other thing is that like even if you're not famous, like the other podcast segments are the LA comedian podcasts. And because I did comedy here in Austin, I know a lot of people that have migrated to LA to chase that. Right. And so it's just like an insular community that has each other on all the time to plug their own stuff.
Right.
And I know a lot of people that have very peculiar, interesting experiences that would otherwise never go on a podcast. So, like, one of my roommates is a practicing Buddhist teacher. One of my roommates is a like a clothing repair person.
Like a tailor, seamstress with a specialty in
seamstress is the gendered word, sir. It's a.
Is it?
Yes.
Well, I mean, I don't smell gender.
Yeah. So. I'm proud of you. Yeah, and just a lot of people that have stories to tell, that have their own unique perspective, that have things to say that would otherwise never get to go on a podcast.
Right.
And so the thought was to have a one-on-one podcast where, you know, a lot of podcasts have that level of like arm's length comedy where like this is all a joke kind of, right?
Sure, yeah.
I don't know if you know any podcasts like that.
Nah, I wouldn't waste time with them. Yeah.
No.
That's why we stopped recording this podcast many years ago.
Oh,
yeah.
Is that what happened?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so I just wanted to have people on to like authentically sit down and just, you know, talk to them and see hear their story, hear, you know, perspectives from people that, because they don't have something to promote, would never be on a podcast regardless.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. And that's healthy because those are stories you actually really want to hear.
Yeah.
And not like, yes, you like sloths. That's great. Yeah, once you tell your husband on his podcast how much you love sloths again, and also, yes, The Good Place is excellent. We got it. Okay, you're gonna repeat.
Excellent.
You're gonna repeat this 17
Sloths
times.
Are
the
excellent.
Of course they are. They're goddamn adorable.
That couple is excellent, but
yeah, but you can hear it so many times.
we all cry about sloths. That doesn't make Chris and Bill
any more special
or interesting.
And these are all people that you know. Like, are you gonna run out of friends though?
Well,
given the nature of the thing, or are you just going to be presumptuous to say that everyone who's on your podcast has to be a friend of yours?
No. Well, that's the other thing.
Because I love that concept too. And you're like, all you do is get one celebrity, and you're like, yeah, Tom Hanks and I are friends. It says so in the fucking name, you know?
Yeah,
like,
that's Conan O'Brien's new podcast.
Yeah, that's true.
He just interviews every single the top tier, like Will Ferrell, Tom Hanks people.
His one with Dana Carvey was great.
I only listened to the Will Ferrell one.
Yeah. Okay.
But what? Where were you going with that?
Well, oh no, I was just talking about. The question I asked was like, you know, you have a set of friends, and what are you going to do after?
Oh no, that's the thing, is that's the reason I'm moving back to Austin, is because I have 12 friends in Portland, and I pre-recorded all of our episodes.
Season's done. Got to move to a new city.
So that's really what the story there is, that I just ran out of people, so I have to move to a different city to record another. Well, here I can record probably a good year, and then I got to get the fuck out. Gotta go somewhere else.
I love that.
Actually, that's an interesting concept. If you can keep it up.
Yeah, podcast nomad. Just get up and say like, well, I mean, knock on wood that you'll make some money off of it, so it can actually help you move to like the next place or whatever. But so okay, like this is kind of hyperbolic already. Surprise. But what city would be next if you wanted to actually pursue that dream of going and meeting people and being like, hey, we're friends now?
I mean, the way I'm doing it, it would be, who do I know the most people at?
Yeah.
So again, like at Portland, I'm friends with a good 12 to 18 people that I would feel comfortable interviewing. Here, I have enough people that I could do it for a year or two.
Sure.
The next place would be either probably LA or San Francisco.
Oh yeah, LA, sure.
But that's like where LA is where podcasts are born.
Well, right, but your podcast wasn't born there, you know. Yeah. You're taking it there. You have a podcast that's basically a road trip, you know, like, and that's pretty fun.
The Greg Lockwood Road Show.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Porking across America.
That's right.
Well, cool.
Yeah.
And that all is on iTunes and Stitcher. Did you put it on Stitcher?
Yeah, it's on every major.
Cool.
It's on everything.
Yeah. What's the feedback been so far? People like it?
I have a good solid 20 to 30 listeners per episode.
Great.
Like the first episode hit 60, and but you know.
Well, get ready for the content pending bump.
That content pending uppercut.
You're 5, maybe 6 more people.
Of people flocking over.
Yeah. Halves of dozens.
Yeah, no, I mean, I enjoy it. I enjoy doing it.
Yeah.
So at this point,
It sparks joy.
This sparks joy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, podcast.
I hate that shit.
Marie Podco.
If you had more episodes, I'd absolutely do that right now. Let's just watch an episode and summarize it, like Gilmore Guys.
Never heard of it.
I was actually looking this up because we talked about the, the nature of having people, especially like celebrities, go on everyone's podcast, kind of go around or whatever. You know who Lauren Lapkus is?
I listened to like 3 podcasts with her on it. I listened to. So the other thing is that a lot of, especially her, so she's part of the whole Comedy Bang Bang sphere.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is that I like comedy straight up, and I like natural conversations straight up. But I'm not crazy about recorded bits. I'm not crazy about bits at all, really.
Sure.
Which all of that, Scott Aukerman, Lauren Lapkus, PFT.
They got to do the fucking bits.
It's just all bits, right?
Yeah. It's just the big heavy improv, like
right.
Improv forward
I'm not an
stuff.
improv person.
Yeah.
It's a poor art form. It's not great.
Okay, well.
But the 3 of them have a podcast called Freedom.
Okay.
As in freedom.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
There's 3 of them.
Wow.
Freedom. But it's like just them riffing off of each other, basically.
Right.
And it does have some, bit type shit in there. But like that's very much my level of like just exploring each other's past, like poking at each other, kind of seeing what kind of natural conversation get out of each other.
It's funny because that's absolutely right. Because Scott, the Comedy Bang Bang podcast itself with Scott Aukerman, like I enjoy the bits and I love the improv and I love it when they bring in the characters. But I don't know if you've ever listened to an episode.
No, I'm not. No.
The formatting of the show is pretty simple. Scott Aukerman has a person come on the show and he asks them a bunch of like actual interview questions about what they're doing, what their lives are. So he'll have like someone like, Paula Tompkins will come on and he'll just talk to him like, hey, what are you doing? What's the thing? The podcast, the shows, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And that's like before the first break. And the second break, they'll bring in a second guest, which is like one of their other comedian friends who is doing a character.
Ah.
And so then it's the riffing off of the character with each other. But like at that point, like the interview's over. Now everyone's just being goofballs for fucking ever.
It's just off rails.
And it's just off the fucking rails, yeah. But it does have some like really beautiful moments, like when they accidentally improv themselves into creating a story arc that's relevant to a different episode. So they have these canonical things that actually have to happen. I like that.
Oh yeah, they have major like year-long story arcs on.
Or they have like
CBB.
And one of the Andy something. He's a poet laureate. He played like 4 or 5.
Daly?
Andy Daly, yeah. And he's on the show, and he's a fucking incredible improv dude. Really fucking great mind. You know who that is, right?
Yeah.
But he had like 4 or 5 characters, and Andy Daly has this thing that they said that they love for him and also love fucking with him is that he is perfect for that like really considerate improv where he'll just do whatever they tell him to do. I mean, he'll like kind of complain about it, like try to like do a thing. And they're like, no, you can do this. So like more often than not, when he's on the show, one of his characters jumps out the window, like always kills himself by jumping out the window. But in this one, it was like the story started turning into a fight versus good versus evil and the end of the world. And he was playing like 3 or 4 of the characters. And one of them is the poet laureate, a cowboy poet laureate, and who like had to use limericks to defeat himself, who was also the devil, and make those poems up on the spot. And it was just every year for that show has been out. They've done a top 50 or top 100 episodes, and those 2 have been number 1 and number 2 forever because it's just like why, but not a single second of it is an interview. Not a single second of it's like genuine.
Well,
it's all bits. It's all improv, and it's like it is exhausting. It's like I said, like sometimes I just want to hear people.
I just want to hear people not riff. Like, and that's the other thing is that
that's why true crime is so popular because it's like when to hear a story and try to solve a murder at the same time, and like you're still hearing these people. You're hearing people, like people you might know, people you don't know.
The funny
Like,
thing
it's
is
fun.
that as a podcast person, I hate true crime.
Oh, I
so much.
I usually do too. You know,
But I think it's part of being a comedian. And if you talk to comedians, like this is a universal thing. When you're like standing in line for an open mic, or if you're just hanging out, like everyone wants to riff. Like everyone is always just trying
Try to be
even
on.
if you don't say, even if you're not trying to be funny, like every single word that comes out of your mouth could become a thing that they're trying to jump off of, right?
Right.
And like I get
I have a
it.
thing for that. I have a thing for that.
I get it. I understand the natural inclination for that to happen. But every once in a while, you just want to have a fucking conversation, you know? You don't want to have to fucking jump off of someone or build off of someone or make a joke or make a better joke than the joke that someone else just said, you know? So
And how do you tolerate me as a person? I feel like I'm that kind of person who's like, I don't know what to do in this social situation, so I'm just gonna be a goofball, you know?
I've built a 13-year tolerance, Travis, to be completely honest.
Like slowly poisoning yourself.
I'm too
Iocane powder.
I'm too invested in you as a person at this point. I can't really walk away.
That's very sweet of you. Thank you.
Love you, buddy.
Love you, buddy.
But yeah. But talking about that, yeah, like Paul F. Tompkins is Cake Boss, like he's been doing that for a decade, so they have those fucking characters and things that they're trying to do.
His what's a German director that's like basically insane?
Werner Herzog.
His Werner Herzog is fucking beautiful.
Yeah. Werner Herzog is like a major recurring character on CVB.
And I can't believe I can't. The guy who directed Phantom of the Opera and many other musicals, Broadway musicals.
Christopher Nolan.
I'll try to remember, and we're gonna come back and we're gonna do a little break. Bye bye.
Reagan probably forgot that he was knighted.
People are dumb.
Welcome back to the show, buddy. This is segment 2, or really just second part, or whatever we're doing, because we can just kind of play this out. Of the content pending, which I was doing, blah, 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 blah. Actually, I don't have a drink.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Oh, no. How was South by for you, buddy? Like, what'd you do? What'd you see? What'd you want to do?
My South by schedule has historically been to have a loose framework of shows that I want to see that I can be persuaded from depending on who's where.
Okay.
And that's visiting out of town. That was as much as it's ever been this week.
Right.
Because not to fucking say that I have friends, but you know, I have people to see.
Sure.
So yeah, I every day has just been like, I'm going to try to do this, and then if someone's like, come stand in line for this, I'm like, okay, I'll do that. The only really, I mean, I've seen a lot of bands, but it's just been bands while I'm standing around hanging out. Broken Social Scene is the one headliner band that I got to see, that I wanted to see, that I came into town with a plan to see.
Right. They were playing 3 times though, right? Did you see them all 3 times?
No, I saw them once, but it was a worthwhile one time. And then honestly, just bouncing around, shaking hands,
Kissing babies.
Yeah.
Drinking scotch drinks. Good Lord.
So do you ever like take the just free party approach where you just kind of look, hey, I can get free alcohol if I go here, here, and here. I'm just going to bounce around.
Yeah. That's part of it. I don't particularly search out the free stuff if I have something else to do, but like, so yesterday, today and yesterday, Comedy Central had a party at Palone's, which is right across the street from Stubbs.
Yeah. Was it anything particular, or just Comedy Central?
It was just Comedy Central blanket party, and there was like free breakfast tacos and free Shiner beer there. So like yesterday I stumbled upon it, but today, because I had no hard plans, I got downtown at noon, and I was like, well, I'm going to go there first and get my free Shiner and get my free tacos. I mean, as with South by is, like, a lot of stuff there's, free scotch or free at this Broken Social Scene concert that I went to, there was free Rudy's breakfast tacos. So like the free stuff is kind of an incidental thing for me.
Sure.
I just try to go to wherever I want to, and if there happens to be free booze or free food there, then that's great.
Then double plus. Sure.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to try to take that journey because if
I've done it a few times. It's fun.
If you're listening to this and you don't know South by, like, you can come to South by and aside from finding accommodations, you could probably spend $0 and get super fed and super drunk like the entire week.
As long as you plan to end your evening around 7 p.m.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Because that's when the big shows happen.
Basically, day drink. If you come down at around 11:30, you can eat and drink for free until 5, guaranteed.
Yeah, because of your story yesterday.
And hear great stuff.
The drink tickets.
Oh, yeah. So yesterday at this Comedy Central Festival, that you get 2 free drink tickets when you get in there. And it was about 1 p.m. I was trying to meet up with you later in the day, Travis. And so I was just like, I was on my second beer. I was nursing it, trying to get ready to go somewhere else. And there was 2 guys across we were like in this like 5-foot hall. So we were just in a hallway, and some lady comes by and turns to them and are like, hey, here's my 2 free drink tickets. Do y'all want them? They're like, of course we do.
Of course, yeah.
So they split it 1-to-1. And I stood there thinking, man, I'd really like free drink tickets. More additional free drink tickets. And no shit, within 5 minutes, I'm standing there about to finish my beer, and this lady comes by, and she's not showing, and she just comes up and is like, hey, I'm pregnant. Do you want these 2 free drink tickets? I'm like, yeah, of course. Yeah, please.
I'll drink for both of you.
I'll drink for both of you. Yeah. And then she's like, here you go. I'm like,
just name the kid Greg.
Yeah.
Yeah, I said
it's as simple as that.
Yeah.
I'm like, thank you so much. Thinking it's end of transaction. And then she's like, oh, also my friend that I'm here with is pregnant as well. Here's her free drink ticket.
Excellent.
So you go from having 2 free drinks to 6 free drinks. And I drink a lot, and I'm pretty experienced at drinking.
At this point, there's like an hour before you know I'm going to be somewhere.
And I know that I'm planning on meeting you in like the next 30 to an hour. Yeah. So I go from being like, 2 extra free drink tickets are manageable to, 4 extra drink tickets are trouble. Like, if I try to fucking just chug all 4 of these, then it's going to be fucking trouble.
Yep.
So you kind of have, like, it was one of the rare times of having too much of a good thing during South by.
Right.
So, I mean, I gave half of them away. I had 4 free drinks, and I found you, and we had free scotch, but... Yeah.
Well, you did. Ugh.
I didn't like it.
Scotch cocktails.
Who's giving out free scotch?
It was at Antone's. So it was an RSVP show where you can RSVP once you get there, fine, whatever. And then they had a free scotch cocktail like area. It was a little tiny like shot glass cups or whatever. But the thing is, if you like scotch, that's probably fine. Actually, I'd say if you like scotch,
you probably don't want to dilute.
You probably don't want to dilute it with like fruit juice.
Punch.
Yeah, the whole point of scotch is to not do that.
Is to not do that.
That's what whiskey is for.
They're offering
or bourbon.
They're offering red fruit punch cocktails and old-fashioned scotch cocktails.
An old-fashioned speech over bourbon because it's sweeter usually.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, because you also don't want that scotch flavor to pop out unless you want that scotch flavor to only be there. So it's really funny. And I mean, I saw that at ACL. They had this like weird geodesic dome inside. They had they were vaporizing scotch, so you can vape it or whatever. It was like, and that was weird and didn't do anything. There wasn't really any booze in it, but it was like, oh, look at that, I'm inhaling. It's like Parks and Rec, I'm like inhaling some booze or whatever. And they're like, hey, would you like to try this? It's basically like a lemon drop or whatever with scotch. I'm like, oh, cool. Take a sip. Tastes like scotch. Fucking, it's always there. It's
scotch.
Yeah, it's scotch.
There's a bar in Austin on Dirty that did inhalable vaporized liquor.
Vegas was doing that for a little bit.
Yeah,
it went away quickly.
That's garbage.
Yeah. It's garbage.
Get it out of here.
Yeah, but I don't even know how much it would cost to actually try to buy it. It's probably expensive because it's like so fancy.
I mean, I think it was like a shot equivalent, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't do it because I'm not human garbage. But I think it was priced approximately like a shot, and
that's
supposedly it's supposed to get you fucked up.
Yeah, it goes straight to your bloodstream, dude. It goes right through your fucking lungs instead of goes to your stomach.
Just get a tampon.
Just get a tampon. I tried looking into that. It's such a funny thing. Because
infused tampon.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's a business idea. I was looking into. I was having a conversation with some lady friends on what you think would be more absorbent when you soaked something, into a thing and then put it up into one or the other orifice or whatever, and generally speaking, it was always like, no, just put it in your ass. Just put it in your ass. It's safer there. Like, I don't know why it's safer one way or the other.
You sound obsessed with this a little bit.
Well, no, what I was curious about is like the whole concept doesn't make a lot of sense either, because if you've ever like a lot of tampon applicators are plastic, and as soon as you pop the thing out, you might as well have like a fucking really big like spaghetti noodle. They don't you can't just shove things up there really effectively. So like a person who actually goes out to do that, where that story came from in the first place, like just really was an alcoholic and like didn't want anyone to know how fucking wasted they were, or it's not real. That's basically the thought. It's probably not real.
It's definitely happened.
I mean, someone's put something somewhere. Like it's less than zero.
I'm guessing it started as complete bullshit.
Had to be,
but now it has become real.
Well, someone has. I mean, there's probably
7 billion people on Earth. Like someone has.
And there's a billion people on YouTube who do dumb shit like this all the time.
Yeah.
So.
It's super dangerous. I even went to Reddit to ask. Was like, well, what do you think would be more absorbent? Ask Reddit or whatever. And every response was, don't do that. It's fucking super dangerous. Like, no, it's a scientific question. I'm like, not going to do that. And they're like, but don't do it. Good.
I would guess anus is more absorbent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's smart.
Yeah.
Yeah. You heard it here first. Yeah. Sorry for the derailment.
Moving on.
That was on my head.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Just sometimes you get a little butt crazy. Sometimes.
Oh, of course.
It happens.
Yeah. I'm a white cisgender man. Like I sometimes men.
How many are you?
Like 3 or 4.
Okay.
I guess. Yeah. Is that a fat joke?
I thought that was a big dick joke.
Shit, I missed my chance. What else are you doing this weekend for South by then?
Well, this is Saturday at
right now at 7 p.m.
7 p.m.
The last Saturday of South by then.
So I'm leaving tomorrow morning, or not tomorrow morning, but tomorrow at 4 p.m.
God.
So no one is going to get the appreciate or the benefit of the plug for this, but I'm going to friend of the pod, Ariel Norman's show, off script, the Heckle show at the Fallout Theater, FKA, the New Movement, which they don't like to talk about that. I've heard, but yeah, so I'm going to that. And then tomorrow I'm going to post up at a bar to have a few couple drinks and then go to the airport and go home.
Okay. Are you still having your give Greg a hug party?
That's it, yeah. Okay. It's a Full Circle bar, which is where they have the skee ball league, which quite a few of our mutuals do participate in. I did 1 year. I'm bad at skee ball, I learned, and I'm also bad at being bad at things. I really hate being bad at things.
Okay.
So being bad at skee ball and being in a skee ball league, I just like roll an under average score every time. And I go to my teammates and I'm like, I'm sorry, I hate myself. I hate everything. I don't want to be doing this.
So the morale was real high at that point
Morale
too.
was
Yeah.
so high. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've got about a day left, and South by has been really good this year. Everyone, it's popular to hate this.
Yes. It's probably more popular than South by to hate South by.
Yeah, no, it definitely is. And like, it's a big, dumb corporate holiday that lasts for 10 days. But it's great, kind of. Like, it's awful in a lot of ways, but it's also kind of great.
Yeah.
I've never had a bad time at South by.
Yeah. It's just traffic is the only real problem.
Yeah, I've had a couple of experiences where I felt a little, pissed off because being a local, I think you wear a little bit on your sleeve, like, hey, this is my town, fuck you.
Right.
And then also a couple of years ago, I had a wristband, and this was like when the badges really started taking over everything. Like where they were like, if you have a wristband that you pay, $100, $200 for, like, stand in this line, but we're going to ignore you because if someone has a badge, they cut in front of everybody.
Yeah.
And that pissed me off, but didn't really just turn me away from
That's
it.
universally how it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
Well,
it wasn't like that
this
for a
was
while.
new
Yeah.
around 5 years ago. Really kind of kicked on.
Gotcha.
Well, because they're like letting people in, and people would come in, let people in, and then fire code, of course. Like, the only so many people can come in. And so what happened is, like, my experience was at Elysium, where they usually have the Japan night.
Yeah.
Usually a lot of fucking fun. Then
I've been a couple times.
We
It's
did
great.
that a couple years, and then one year we were waiting in line, and we were like maybe 5 to the door, and we had to wait an extra hour for badge people to leave.
Yeah.
Because they were scrutinized in, and they get preference. So, and then they started separating lines, and but this time we were walking around, and like I kind of feel like the people at Native, like the area we were standing in, was probably off limits because like we had to walk past a bunch of. Like, it looked like they were setting up like a kid's birthday party. It was like Batman emblems and stuffed animals and like stickers, but it was all like birthday party. Like they got it from the Party Pig.
DC's had some rough times with the movies recently.
No, they had all these fucking. They had like 100 gift bags
Funko
with
guys or whatever.
Batman Funkos
Yeah.
there. I'm not sure what's
Again,
going on
they've
there.
had some rough times with their movies recently.
I tried to go back there that night, and I heard that it was like a $5 cover if you didn't have credentials.
Sure.
Hey, that's fairly reasonable.
Right.
It is if that was the case. And then I got there, and they're like, "Do you have a badge or wristband?" I'm like, "No." And they're like, "Get the fuck out of here." And
Yeah.
I'm like,
That's what I was thinking. You probably could just like scoot around that place because I feel like this South by didn't look like everyone was really on their game because it wasn't as busy because there's just so many places. I shouldn't say it's not busy. There's just so much more area for South by to be.
it's so spread out.
It's so spread out that like because we went to see our friends at Jackalope, people we still know that work there. Not a lot of them, but and it was slow, and it was slow because there was just other stuff everywhere. But I don't know about Rainy. Was Rainy crazy?
Rainy was pretty busy. So for South by, it's kind of the thing of that, like, the daytime shows are the shows that you can get in for free.
Yeah.
And then the official shows are the nighttime shows, and you need at least a wristband to get into those.
Right.
I went
Or a plucky attitude and a knife.
gung ho, chipper. Yeah.
Lots of blowjobs.
Lots of blowjobs.
Just so many. Yeah.
With
I
a
mean,
plum.
You
Blowjobs with a plum.
You
gotta
blow jobbed a plum.
A plum.
Cup the balls. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, that's just eating it, really.
Oh.
Yeah. Not the pit. Gross. I don't swallow.
I hope you don't swallow the pit. That's gonna get stuck in your throat.
Or it'll grow a plum tree in my. They grow in trees, right?
Travis and the giant plum.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Rainy was not bad as long as you get there, like, because the day shows last from like noon to 5.
Right.
So as long as you get there like before 3 or 4, you have to wait a couple of minutes to get in.
Right.
But they're not. I mean, these are all for bands that no one's ever. not no one's ever heard of. I don't want to shit on these wonderful, hardworking, sweet, beautiful bands, but that are not headliner bands, right? Yeah.
That's not always true. I've actually seen a lot of headliners who would do like a day show unannounced, or they do an acoustic version, or they'd sneak in someplace else. It's more rare now, but a few years ago, it was, there's a band, I can't remember the name of them offhand. They had some hits on the radio, and they actually did like 4 shows during South by. They had like one main headliner show.
Right.
Then they were here for like 4 days, so they had like I'm here at 3, I'm over here at 5, I'm over here at 6. Like,
I guess they're already here. Like, why not?
yeah, and they could bring the crowds in, so people were booking them. So,
Well, the adverse of that is the Zombies.
yeah,
The Zombies played a Jackalope one year during lunch, essentially.
Yeah.
Because they're all like 80.
yeah.
And
they go to sleep at 4.
Yeah. Well, yeah, they have dinner at 3, so they would not drink. And every time she talks about that show, she was like, they were amazing. They did not drink booze. I served them coffee, and they were all grumpy.
Well, they are like 80 years old.
Yeah.
Actually, and
Which
if
is
I'm not
fine.
mistaken, this year Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductees.
Oh, really? That's
Yes.
good. Yeah.
Did they do their infamous song,
They're one song.
Zombie, Zombie?
Yeah, that was a cover.
Yeah.
Cranberries covered that. Yeah. That's why we know.
Zombie by the Cranberries by the Zombies.
By Cake.
By Cake.
Yeah. We did go too deep.
Yeah.
Let's take another break. I'm going to get a beer, and we refill, and we'll be back after this beer break.
Oh
Injustice.
my God, Aunt Becky.
How rude. Welcome back to the show, everybody.
Hey.
So this is the last part of the show. It's kind of like a toast segment, also kind of a round out things that have happened over the week that we're interested in. Maybe that aren't South by related, if we wanted to talk about any of it. Of course, the big fun news is it's the side effect of yes, of course, we know that rich people have been paying for their darling little snowflakes to be able to get into schools.
Yeah.
Oh no.
But to find out, number one, to find out that it was illegal, like, wow, that's interesting. But the way this actually played out and the way they did it was incredibly, like, not only unethical and awful, like they always have been, but also like purely.
Yeah, the old
illegal.
school, just you donate money to buy a building.
Yeah, you
the
buy a
library.
wing or a building or
Just
whatever.
come out and say it, because no one's actually said what this is.
So what is there a name for it? Like Pizzagate is
No,
just so
Cashgate.
Cashgate. Yeah.
To my knowledge, there isn't one just yet.
I know. I only what is Aunt Becky's
Collegegate.
What's Aunt Becky's real name? What's the actress's real name? There's multiple.
Lori Loughlin.
Lori Loughlin. There's Lori Loughlin and a couple other celebrities. and
Felicity Huffman.
Yeah,
Philly H. Muffman. Yeah.
much.
What is Felicity Huffman from?
Desperate Housewives, she's also William H. Macy's wife.
See,
Philly H. Muffman. It's a Colbert
right.
power couple name.
I gotta know.
Yeah.
But
There's even a book about that they made up by the two.
Consider-
These splendiferous Zeppelin adventures of Philly H. Muffman or something like that.
I'd watch that as long as it's not animated.
No,
As long as Johnny Depp is all the characters.
only exists as a concept that never. It was just a Colbert Report.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
As long as
I would
William
have-
H. Macy's not in it.
Right. That's also played by Johnny Depp. Right. So we know this is a thing. But the one thing that shocked me the most was not that Aunt Becky still has a bunch of money, but is also able to post that bail so fucking quickly.
Well, she's married to Massimo, the Target fashion designer.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know
okay.
that.
See, now it all makes sense.
You don't
It's
think she would have enough money on her own to post bail?
No.
for...
No.
She's not that
You think
successful
she
an actress.
squandered?
Well, because
you
House-
think she squandered the Full House money.
Full House syndication wasn't syndication just wasn't as big of a deal before the Friends time,
Yeah.
as it is now.
And she really hasn't acted much since then.
yeah, it's like basically been
They've been
lifetime
part
Wasn't
of
movies.
she in Fuller House though?
Yeah,
For a bit, but she got
for
kicked-
like 2 episodes. Or
Got
something,
kicked
yeah.
out of it, I think.
Oh,
Yeah.
I did not follow Fuller House.
No, all her money comes from her fashion designer husband.
So the real hot take on this whole ordeal is that someone on Twitter reminded us, or tried to remind us, that a black housewife and mother got arrested for lying about her kid's address in order to make sure the kid can go to a better school,
Right.
and they called it stealing education.
Yeah.
And
Meanwhile,
meanwhile, if you have less than $1 million, if you have less than
Wait,
full house money.
Is the big surprise here that there's injustice in the world? Is that the big curtain reveal?
I think we all want to believe that injustice.
Oh my God, Aunt Becky!
How rude!
Look at that injustice.
I think we all want to believe that as much injustice as we've seen is all of it. You know,
no one believes that.
No. There are people like me who do believe in something that stupid.
Fuck you.
Well, I think the people who believe that there are way worse injustices than they actually seen start dipping their toes into conspiracy theories. You know, like that the Earth absolutely has to be flat because I didn't get my sports contract when I was 14 or whatever crazy shit. Or God doesn't exist, so I must make up a new God, essentially.
There's no way you haven't watched the Flat Earth documentary.
I did. Right? Did you see it?
No.
No, watch it. Actually, it's
I know you did.
Yeah. No, actually, it was really well done.
I heard it's good. I want to watch it. I just haven't yet.
It's very human, and it doesn't actually make fun of them too much. It does.
That's bad?
No. It shows that this shows that they're wrong, but it doesn't make fun of them. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, it kind of does. It pokes fun at the real fringe guys.
Uh-huh.
Like, really doesn't even poke fun at just like listen to him talk for a bit. Above the Dome, I think is what it's called. And honestly, like, really great documentation. Like, as a film, as a documentary, it is like really well put together, and all the characters are interesting enough on their own, and you kind of get their opinions. But there's no one like. There's not like someone like pointing at another guy and being like, "You're a fucking idiot." Like they don't do that. Like they actually have some really human gloves on it. Like it's actually pretty nice. But yes, of course, I'd watch that.
Off.
Well, again, like,
why be nice to these people? Why
watch it? I think it like they that was the one question they're trying to answer. Is like that if you really look at the people, the main players who aren't trying to be pricks, like they're just like trying to be scientists, but they're amateur scientists and don't remember that there are actual scientists out there who are doing shit. Because like there was one takeaway where like part of the community, I think we talked about this. I don't know if we talked about this on the show last week or whatever, but
no, it was off air.
That was off air. There was one guy in the community specifically was like, we know that the globe, quote unquote, you know, we know the globe is supposed to
the
surface. If it does rotate, he says, then it rotates at about 15 degrees every hour because it's 360 degrees in a 24-hour period. And so that community got a bunch of money together, like $20,000 to buy a specific laser leveler, laser compass, essentially. And it's like, well, if it actually rotates, we're going to set this thing here, and in an hour, it should have tilted about 15 degrees. And in an hour, it tilted about 15 degrees. And they were looking at it like, fuck. Because they're trying to prove that it's flat and it's not rotating.
Yeah.
So they tried all this other stuff, and they're just like looking at it like, you know, and in their heads, they're like, well, we're not trying to make this work, but it's also going against what we're thinking, and maybe we're wrong. And it's like, but so seeing these people who were definitely
actually
had
a
realization,
cameras.
And it makes them really human to like, as long as people aren't in their face calling them morons and they go out and try to do their own thing, then possibly all conspiracy theorists at the end of the day will eventually say like either no, that's not true anymore, or I'm bored with this.
Yeah.
You know, because eventually, like, what's the point? Arguing with them is difficult because eventually they give up.
I just assume that when you're that far down the hole, like, you have to reject any evidence,
right? Yes,
that goes against your beliefs. So
right.
No fucking laser level or anything will change their mind.
And that's what I was saying. It's like, that's why it was so impressive, because they were definitely rethinking it. And I appreciate that. Because that's what science is supposed to be.
Yeah.
You know, you throw science at an hypothesis or a theory or a concept, and if it changes that thing and you can redo that bunches of times, then that changes the question.
And more importantly, nowhere in the Bible does it say the earth is flat.
Exactly, yeah.
So.
Yeah.
They've got that.
Well, remember, the Bible was rewritten.
That's
a funny part too, because like that's an old atheist argument. It's like, well, yeah, you're like the David Cross argument. Like, this has been rewritten for this and written for this and then written for this
hundreds of times
through a bunch of different languages. Yeah. But these people who actually, again, the final God in the flat Earth thing is the final boss. Is God, and that this is all like God did this through the church in order to protect us from knowing what's outside the flat Earth. But then they say, well, no, if you find any truth in the Bible that it doesn't say it, that means it's because it was rewritten in hundreds of languages, etc. It's like, so they come back to it like, oh, that's fun. You know?
I mean, I hate flat earthers, but if it turned out to be a flat earther to be the one that finally slayed God, like that would be impressive. I don't know if I'd be mad about it.
Just gotta get over that fucking ice wall.
Just
dude.
a fucking two-handed sword, you know. Like, God, I'm coming for you, motherfucker.
Yeah, especially if you put all your points into skepticism. Like,
Right.
That's God's greatest weakness. My sword of doubt. The sword of scientism. Anything else that happened? Dylan, anything that happened this week that you think we didn't cover that we'd like to talk about?
Oh, we lost Luke Perry this week.
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, a couple deaths recently.
I never watched 90210.
Yeah, like I had no personal connection to it, but it was also like it sucks because he was in his mid-50s and it was
52.
52, lower 50s, yeah.
And he died of a stroke.
Died of a stroke.
And as they say on TV, the first symptoms of a stroke are having a stroke.
Are dying of a stroke.
That's actually what they say on TV.
Face, arms, something, trauma, like
Head, knee,
fast.
head, shoulders, knees,
And strokes,
toes,
Yeah, he needs a stroke. Yeah.
eyes and ears and mouth and nose.
That's the way the world goes around.
I wish they didn't put it on the news. They put it on
Or does
Or
it?
does it, yeah. Allegedly.
Did any movies? Have y'all seen any movies?
I saw Captain Marvel. I don't think I talked about Captain Marvel, but I did see it, and I'd probably see it again. I'd recommend it to get ready, I guess.
I
But
heard it's hard mediocre.
it's hard mediocre, yeah.
And
Yeah.
I understand that makes me a woman hater to say that. I understand that I can't be a feminist and say that it was mediocre, but that's
Not
what I
anymore,
heard.
yeah. Sorry, buddy.
I appreciate Red Letter Media's take on it. It said basically, if it's a standalone movie, it's a complete piece of shit. Don't watch it because it can't stand alone in any way possible. Like it's bad storytelling. It doesn't tie into the universe, and it particularly it retcons everything they've done with the past 1,500 movies in the Marvel universe. However, if you want to watch it as this is one more piece of the Marvel puzzle, okay, why not?
Yeah, I'd like for you to actually see it because I think that's an interesting takeaway. That it's not 100% wrong, but it does have a like. So they didn't retcon stuff with it.
Well, they made Captain Marvel the most important Avenger.
Yeah, so they did basically rewrite Captain
Yeah.
Marvel to be the first Avenger, making Captain America
America.
the
No,
second Avenger or whatever. That is a thing, and that's not really a spoiler. It's just like, well, she was there, and like basically because she had this relationship with Nick Fury, like Nick Fury used her presence really as a reason to create the Avengers initiative, et cetera, et cetera.
They're now the Avengers.
Avengers. Yeah. But in general, like it does stand alone because there's the information that's provided is just as like comic book surprising as like Captain America or Iron Man was. I should say Captain America before Iron
I may
Man.
be misrepresenting what they said as far as that. They were explaining the idea of this is a standalone movie that's not tied to anything Marvel.
Right.
And you were to pitch the concept and throw it out there.
Right.
It doesn't make sense as a movie. It's just bad storytelling.
Right, it's just bad storytelling because it's just like one of the Star Wars. They had the good criticism of that. Like one of the Star Wars movies. I think it was
Probably The Last Jedi.
I think it was Rogue One actually.
Oh, yeah.
Whereas like Rogue
Rogue
One was probably only really interesting for people who knew Star Wars. But if you had no idea, you can literally replace all the words, the Force and lightsabers and this people and Dooku and the Death Star with just other random sci-fi, and it would just be a fucking sci-fi movie
Yeah.
that still isn't good. But because it's Star Wars, but they don't explain what the Force is. They don't explain any of that shit because they're just like, you're seeing this because you already fucking know.
Right.
But that also technically makes it a bad movie.
And you
Like-
know the ending to it. Also.
yeah. It's
That-
like
that's
watching
kind of-
Titanic and hoping that something changes in the end. Like, sure, that's like their major beat. But also, did we know it was going to take 6 months? Because that's the one thing I always took away, is at the end of Rogue One, they made this mistake of not doing any research. The end of Rogue One, they're big, like, when they get the data drive to that ship that has Leia, like, get it to R2 or
yeah.
whatever, like, it's taking off from this one spot and being chased by Star Destroyers from this one spot, and someone did the math of light speed travel from that sector to where they show up in A New Hope, and it took 6 months. So that means the end of Rogue One, that means that Star Destroyer has been following that fucking little ship for 6 months, and now we also know that they had to stop for probably fuel, because now fuel's a thing in the universe.
Yeah.
Let's not do that.
No
Yeah.
one at LucasArts did that, and no one at Lucasfilms was planning that,
Right.
and
Yeah.
that's just nerds doing extra math that they don't have
Absolutely,
to do.
absolutely. But like at least there could be one nerd on a Star Trek thing to say like, because we already know what happened when no one said anything to Lucas when he made the prequels. Mm-hmm. Like, they didn't make sense. They retconned a lot of their stuff, and they threw lightsabers fucking everywhere because, well, they're fucking cool looking, essentially, you know? Like, so you have to have the one nerd, the one vocal asshole, like, nerd prime to say, no, this is not how the comic books do it, just so you can say, all right, well, we got at least some information from the fucking, what's it called? The omnibus, you know?
The ombudsman.
Ombudsman, yeah, thank you.
All of the nerds at Lucasfilms are working in the accounting department to try to figure out how much goddamn money to make.
yeah. We're still counting it.
Well, now they're paid in Disney bucks.
Right. Yeah, Mickey Cash.
I saw Lego Movie 2 this week.
Yeah, what'd you think?
It was cute. I heard a lot of people say that they liked it a lot less than the first one.
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty close to maybe a little bit less than the first one.
First one was nice.
Yeah, I thought it was fun.
The first one was great. I thought this one was fun.
Yeah.
It's
Actually, my first reaction was, how do you make a sequel to that? Because you already kind of did a really good job with the Lego Movie. Like,
yeah.
with Batman.
Why make a sequel?
Right. Well, that was the good solution. It's just like, okay,
Lego Batman.
No, make a Lego Batman.
Yeah.
Make a Lego everything else. Like, just keep going with it.
I don't know if you saw Lego Movie 2, but they have a very good explanation. They have a very good tie-in for Lego Batman.
Okay.
They're basically like, because all the Justice League goes to fight this force, and they're like, where's Batman? And they're like, he's doing his own thing right now.
Yeah, see, I like that. I like the cheekiness.
That's
cute. But our good friend Banjo did go see it with his, I guess she's 10 now, his 10-year-old daughter. And they both hated it. Like, even his daughter was
Well, it
like...
wasn't Disney.
Disney was like, yeah, that's true. But Elise was looking at her dad like, trying to leave. She's like...
She's a smart girl.
I have it at home. Andrew didn't like the first one because she thought it was too dorky, and I was like, "Oh, I think it was
dorky,
wholesome part. Like, you know, the energy of the, like, you know, faking your way into the thing and trying to be unique is like more important."
Who became true.
Yeah. All right.
I disagree with that, but I'm also afraid of disagreeing with Andrea on air because I don't want her to beat me up. So
that's smart.
And I actually,
me too. She's perfect.
We love you, Andrea. All of your opinions are right.
Andrea is awesome.
Andrea is awesome.
I do want to say that I don't think Paddington 2 is a better movie than Paddington 1. I do not understand.
Why would you watch either of those?
They are really wholesome movies, and as an animated feature or like an animated and human thing or whatever, they're done very well. And the first one has a fucking ton of heart and a lot of really like fun little gags and things. And then the second one, I just thought was too much. There was something about the second one that was like a Wes Anderson feeling thing instead. And then all of a sudden it was like, I don't believe in this character anymore. I don't believe that this bear even likes marmalade.
So, speaking of Wes Anderson,
Wow.
Yeah.
I did not see Paddington 1, but
man.
Did you see Grand Budapest Hotel?
I can't remember if I'd seen that one or not.
That's the most, not the most, well, Isle of Dogs is the most recent one, but that's the most recent live action one. Mm-hmm. And the Paddington 2 jailbreak scene is almost shot for shot the same as the Grand Budapest Hotel.
Is it? Okay. That makes sense because it definitely feels like
it's almost right there
because it does. It takes this really weird.
So you nailed it.
Yeah. Well, cool.
It's good. I don't want to be the person to fucking argue against Paddington 2.
No one does. That's why it still has like 100% on fucking Rotten Tomatoes because it is sweet. And it's got some really sweet points. But like Pierce Brosnan. Hugh Grant.
Yeah.
Hugh Grant, like Hugh Grant plays basically a bigger cartoon character than the fucking animated bear. It's so fucking weird. He comes in as this crazy goofball. I'm like, who's this guy? And then like the whole jail scene, which is like what felt like 3/4 of the movie, is like now, marmalade. That was the secret all along. Now they're best friends. Let's break out. Now there's a train. Like, what the fuck is happening with this? When the first one was like, hey, well, let's see what kind of antics he gets into. And like, that's sweet. He just wants a family. He finally finds a family. Aww. Watch Paddington 1. It's a better movie.
Okay. Speaking of computer animated bears, they just added Christopher Robin to Netflix.
Oh, yeah.
And Winnie the Pooh is like one of my emotional weak spots, and I have not seen that.
Yeah.
And I know I'm just going to be a fucking destructive mess,
blubbery mess.
So I'm like waiting for a moment that I hate myself to subject that to myself.
Well, this already sucks. Let's go ahead and make it worse.
Yeah, I'm sad today. Let's just hit rock bottom, right?
I've done that. Like some people listen to metal, some people listen to songs, and I put on Inside Out. That's my song. That's my I'm feeling sad. Let's just go ahead and get the tears out movie.
Yeah.
Because out of all the Pixar movies, Up has the hardest punch at the very beginning, but the entire concept in Inside Out is just like
Inside. Which one's that?
That's the one where they're basically trying to explain
the emotions.
Yes, the emotions, like the different colored emotions that are in this little girl's head.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
Holy shit! You should see it.
Huh.
Oh my god! It's probably one. It's probably my favorite Pixar.
I haven't
movie.
seen the entire thing.
Tina
but
Fey.
It's one of the highest critically acclaimed ones.
Because
I've never even heard of it. Actually.
Well, because like it's like this cute thing. It's like, oh, there's this joy. Joy is like their first emotion. Little babies have joy or whatever, and like seeing the difference between joy and then pain, and joy and then like kind of anxiety and then sadness, and like how they all react and like the panic. Like there's like 5 of them all together, and how they react to each other and whatever. But like joy is kind of overbearing, and it starts to lead into this concept of.
So this is better than the Emoji Movie.
Oh, by at least
That's not
2%.
That's not a Pixar or a DreamWorks movie. I don't think.
Was it? I think. I can't remember.
No one cares.
God, that fucking movie's awful. But no, please see Inside Out if you're in an anime thing. It's a deep one. It is getting some fucking super serious deep stuff. And Tina Fey, Amy Poehler is the main character. She's fucking
unfortunately, it does not have Eve Six's Inside Out in it.
Yeah, and you really went to the well for that one, didn't you?
Hey,
It's South by.
I'm just making the connections that I have.
Hey, look, man, they don't always have to be bits. We can just have a conversation.
They all have to be bits. I've had 2 beers since I said they did not everything had to be bits.
Oh, Greg, you're so mercurial. Well, all right. So, movies. See Inside Out. See Paddington 1. And I think go see Captain Marvel. If you've already ingested 18 movies, like this 19th one is, at least the action scenes are kind of fun-ish, whatever.
Go see Lego Movie 2.
Yeah, and I have
It's
that.
fine.
I have that at home. I'll wait till Andrew falls asleep so I can watch it because she'll just be on her phone.
You said no, I'm watching porn. It's fine.
Right. Anytime now, porn's gonna happen. Whatever.
Everything is porn.
Everything is incest. All right, well, I guess let's wrap it up. You have places to be, and I think that we've done enough of this episode in the first place. Greg, where can we find you online in your podcast?
You can find me at Greg, Greg, and Friends, ANDFREINDS. That I have the one podcast right now, Greg Lockwood Interviews His Friends. I'm in the process of recording additional podcast series that will be yet to be announced. And that will be the one-stop shop place to find everything.
Okay.
But I have 12 episodes of Greg Lockwood Interviews His Friends recorded right now. I think I'm at the point where 8 or so have been released. You can find them on iTunes, on Spotify, on Stitcher, on Pocket Casts, wherever you listen to podcasts.
Apple Podcasts.
Huh?
Apple Podcasts as well.
Apple Podcasts, yeah. Yeah.
Cool. And where are you personally on Twitter?
I am at GI Lockwood on Twitter. And don't come look for me anywhere else.
Well, thanks for coming and hanging out with us. I miss you.
Of course.
I hope you move back someday. Who knows?
I might.
Who knows?
Who knows?
The whole episode's been pretty cryptic
We'll
about
see.
it. So,
Yeah.
Anything is possible.
What's a new show idea? Greg
one
leaves
knows.
his friends.
Greg leaves his friends. You can, okay. So then you can have a whole series of saying goodbye and then having another interview with those people, and then ask them what their favorite thing about that episode of the podcast they were on, and then communicate that.
That's a little meta for me. I don't know.
Too meta for you. I mean,
Yeah.
it sounds like you have a podcast network brewing, man. You have to come up with ideas. So
Right.
Tell me how you'll miss me when I'm gone.
right,
Yeah.
in sonnet form, an iambic pentameter. Well, yes. So move back sometime.
Oh, I'll think about it.
Thank you.
Maybe it'll happen.
Maybe it'll happen. Who knows?
Yeah.
Dylan, thanks for helping me run the show.
Of course.
If you like this show, you want to know more about the show, you can go to contentpending.com. That's contentpending.com. All the episodes we've done for this show and other shows in the past, as well as Drunkcast, Blindsided, Rob Gagnon's Sandbox. So much fun to play. Go check all those out and tell us what you like. Maybe we'll continue doing those. You can find us online on Facebook. You can find us Facebook at Content Pending the Show or Content Pending. Just kind of the same thing. Network for any other shows that we do. You can find that and the other things we've done. And we're on Twitter, basically in kind, CP the Show or Content Pending. Instagram, contentpending.com, DOTCOM, because someone still owns Content Pending.
Howard.
And I think she's like 18 now. And that's great, I guess. I don't know. If you're listening, please give it back. I'd love to have it.
Please. We're asking.
Yes, we're asking very, very kindly. Questions at contentpending.com is the place where you can ask questions, or you can 802-359-7468. That's 802-359-SHOT, where you can leave a message, a voicemail, or a text, and they can respond to you whenever that happens. Everything else is online. Come find us on any podcast platform that you can think of, because we'll be there. Or ask your Alexa or ask your Google Home to play podcast Content Pending and see what happens, because that's kind of fun. You could probably do that too, actually. It happens automatically, especially if you're on Spotify.
You actually find my podcast if you just say, "Hey Alexa, do you know any garbage podcasts?"
Hey Alexa, I want to be bored for an hour and a half. Hey Alexa, I'm super sad.
You know
I
how
want to cry.
Hey Alexa, can I waste my time?
I have just the show for you. No, it's great. You're great, and you're calm, and you have this great loyalty of people, like for how boring as you are, people love you so much.
Right.
No. I mean, honestly,
That's actually the podcast purpose, is trying to figure out what the fuck people are thinking.
yeah, it's like that post-mortem after a relationship where you go to every girlfriend you've ever had, you know?
Right.
And you say like, well, was I good? Was I a good boyfriend? Is there anything I could do to change? You know?
That's every dream I have. Is just a circle of girlfriends.
Just like yelling
having
at you.
a post-mortem breakdown, being like, what is wrong with you?
All right, be careful. I have an erection now, because that sounds like a great porn.
Yeah.
Like the ultimate cuck.
We'll talk about that later.
Ultimate Cuck series featuring Greg Lockwood. All right, so yeah, let's take out. Love you so much. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Break.
I don't believe in this character anymore. I don't believe that this bear even likes marmalade.
So, speaking of Wes Anderson...
Content Pending.